You know within yourself that there's something you want to do, and I believe that all of us were born with a purpose, that all of us have something that we are supposed to do, that all of us have some goodness within us, and that goodness gives us a responsibility to manifest our greatness. And when you know that, you can feel it in your guts, and you know that you're deliberately operating below your potential, you've gotten comfortable, you stop expanding, you stop stretching, you stop challenging yourself. Let me share something else with you. Not only is it possible for you to have your dream, but it's necessary. It's necessary that you have it, that you work on it, that you develop yourself, that you go for what is yours in the universe. I have a friend that at the beginning of the year I was in Los Angeles giving a speech, and I do a seminar teaching people how to become involved in the speaking business, and also one called Speaking with Power, teaching people how to begin to develop their communication skills. And this friend, I said, I want you to work with me. I called her up. She said, Les, are you sure I can do it? Sure you can. You have a PhD in communications. I don't have that. If I can do it, sure you can do it. In fact, I'm going to give you the support that you need. Here's what I realized, ladies and gentlemen. We only have enough energy to take us to a certain level, but it's necessary that we assemble ourselves with other people who share our vision, other people that can see it for us, to give ourselves a home court advantage. So it's necessary that you seek out other people who think like you, who are growing, who have decided that they are not satisfied with where they are. See, I don't believe that necessity is the mother of invention. No, necessity, in my opinion, is not the mother of invention. Refusing to accept things the way that they are is the mother of invention. When you decide, I'm not going to settle for this, this is not going to be it for my life, I deserve more than this. See, that will start making you do some stuff. See, a lot of people go to work every day miserable, and all they do is just talk about how miserable they are. But they don't do anything about it. So I was telling her that I knew she hated her job with a passion. I said, you can do this. You got more going for you than I have going for me. And we've been going through this for years, ladies and gentlemen. She'd been to my seminar speaking for a living. She brought her husband, and that was one of the major problems that I realized that happened in her life. He couldn't see it for her. So you got to make sure that you have people in your life that can see it for you, that will encourage you. Non-affirming relationships can hurt you. And I talked to him. I said, I don't have anything to do with your marriage. I said, you and I are good friends, and she and I are good friends. And I'm not taking sides. I said, but if you can't see it for her, don't tell her that. Just give her some support. What if you're wrong? It's possible, man, that if I'm doing it, she can do it. Well, you're different. How are you going to tell me that? You've seen her speak. She's got great speaking skills. Don't underestimate her. You don't know. You got a great woman here. But you see, people who can't see it for themselves can't see it for you. He was happy. So I said, will you do it with me? I said, I'm going to give you the support you need. You can't do it by yourself. I will stand with you. She said, you will? I said, yes. I'm going to make you part of my seminar. You'll do a part of it, and I'll do a part of it. Speaking with Power. She said, okay. 3 days later, ladies and gentlemen, I got an emergency call at my office. It was from her husband. He called and said, tell Les Brown that Marion is dead. I said, oh no. When I was flying there to go to the funeral, and I remember the last time that I saw her, and I had some of her papers that I had gotten inadvertently confused with mine, and I took them home. And I was searching through these papers to do one of her works. She was a prolific writer. And what got me, what was so sad that made me begin to cry, was that there were poems that she had started that were profound poems, great thoughts that she didn't complete. Plays that she had started that she didn't complete. See, that poem was given to her. I can't finish that for her, nor can you. That play, whatever the outcome that she had envisioned, that she had imagined, was given to her. Only her. And she's the channel that was going to come through. You are here, and you are the vessel, you are the outlet for the universe. That you've been selected. There's something for you to do. I believe all of us have some purpose for being here. And as I was going to the funeral, and I was reading a newspaper that said that millions of people are dying because of what they're eating, talking about their diet. And I'm sure that it was Marion talking to me, whispering, saying, Les, the next time you speak, say that even more are dying because of what's eating them. When the challenges of life come your way, you've got to find ways to increase your sense of self-appreciation, because if you don't, you're bombarded with negative stuff every day that beats you down, and you will find yourself unconsciously engaged in self-destructive behavior. If you don't program yourself, life will program you. So you want to have an agenda for your life. It's necessary that you have some direction for your life. A friend at the National Speakers Convention gave us a presentation, and it really struck me. He was talking about when he was traveling across Europe, war and aggression, and he said at different points, soldiers would wake them up on their journey and ask him the question. And I posed this to you. The question was, where have you been? Why are you here? And where are you going? And that's what I ask you. Where have you been? Where have you been up to this point? You look at your life. You look at what you produce. Is it giving you what you want? Are you living on purpose? Are you living your dream? Are you acting on your ideas? Are you doing all you can do? Have you gotten comfortable? Are you procrastinating? Are you evading your own greatness? Are you surrounding yourself with people that can nourish you? Are you challenging yourself? Are you experimenting? Are you learning something different? Is your life an adventure, or is it boring? Where have you been? Why are you here? What brought you here? Investing the time, the money. What brought you here? And where are you going? What is it that you can get out of this session, out of this lecture? That when you leave here, rather than this just being a spectator event, that you got some idea, some dream, that you might have to go back and brush it off and look at it again and say, I've got to do this. This is my stuff. This is what I'm supposed to do. This is why I showed up. Where are you going with your life? What decisions are you making right now as you look into the future? Are you experimenting to find out what other talents and abilities that you have? See, we're in a time right now. The day is gone where you could just go to college and get out and get a job and work 30 or 40 years with job security and retire with a gold watch. The gold watch days are gone. Brand new day. Party's over. So now you have got to be multi-talented and multi-skilled. You've got to use all your stuff. You don't know what else you can do. I didn't know I can do what I'm doing right now. It's necessary that you stretch and challenge yourself and say, let me see. I start out as a trainer. I'm a trainer. That's what I am. That's what my expertise was in. And then I decided, let me see, can I speak? And then I discovered, hey, I can do that. What if I hadn't tried to do that and just been satisfied with just being a trainer, with a limited vision of myself? And then after training, and then I said, well, maybe I can go into business for myself. And I started speaking, going into business for myself. Well, maybe I could train other speakers and teach them how to go into business for themselves. See, you want to have a backup plan. You want to have other strategies for yourself. In case this doesn't work out, you got something else going over here. You don't want to ever put yourself in a situation where you have a limited vision and you're only using a limited amount of your talents, of your skills, and of your abilities. And I'm saying to you, it's possible you've got some talents, some ideas in you, your ability to do some stuff that you haven't even discovered yet. And I'm suggesting that it's necessary that you get outside of your comfort zone. It's necessary that you develop some new relationships where you can learn from people. It's necessary that you do reading, that you do research. It's necessary, if you're already involved in some business, that you don't be satisfied with where you are. If you want to make it today, it's necessary for you to constantly look at ways of getting better. Not only is it possible for you to have your dream, and it's necessary for you to challenge yourself to go after it and get better, and leverage relationships that can help you get to where you want to go, but it's you. The major key to your reaching your dream, your living up to your greatness, your making your contribution is you. If the economy is good, fantastic. If the banks are loaning money, that's great. If people are positive, that's great. You don't have any opposition, that's great. But the major key to your making things happen in your life is you. When I wanted to get on public television, they told me, you can't do that. So wait a minute, I've seen these other people on. It's possible I can get on. Leo Biscaya, John Bradshaw. It's possible. Excuse me, hold on, time out. Let's be realistic. Come on, be logical. I said, well, wait a minute. Why can't I do it? Let's look here. Think about guys who have credentials, all kind of credentials. You don't have any college training. They're not going to put you on television. Give me a break. I said, thank you for that. God love you, and I'm trying. And went on about my business. You hear me? Let me tell you something. What people think about you and the possibilities for your dream is none of your business. That's their business. They have no imagination, ladies and gentlemen. They're living out of the past, out of their memory. Their attitude is it can't be done because they haven't seen it. They're judging according to appearances. The people that are going to make it in the future, the people that are making it today, let me share something with you. History is being read, but it's also being written by people with imagination. So I went to the next mode, necessary, to start talking to people and seeking and asking for what I wanted and leveraging relationships and trying to find out how do the people do it that went ahead of me? How do they do it? And then what is it I need to do? How is it I need to train myself, to develop myself? What's the resources that will be required in order to make it happen? And as I start seeking out and asking questions, I started running into people who said, I know someone who can help you do that. And they helped me get connected with those people. Remember, we have so much energy that can take us so far. It's necessary that you hook up with some other energy that can take you to the next level. I hooked up with them. They said, let's go. I said, away we go. And guess what? Here we are. I love it. You want your stuff? It's necessary you take responsibility for it, that you make it happen, that you don't give up, that you don't take any objection or disappointment or defeats personally, that you keep on keeping on, that you don't decide that I can't make it because you can't see the light at the end of the tunnel, that you realize that's a part of the program. And here's something you've got to resolve. Say this to yourself every day. See, as long as you're breathing, you got a shot at your dream. That's the way I resolve. Say this, please. It's not over until I win. You got that right. It's not over till I win. Not over till I get through. It's not over till I get over. Not over till I get what I want. Door can't open today, look out. I'm going to come back and take the hinges off. That's how you got to do that. You've got to have that kind of courage, that type of determination. If you want to make it happen, it's you. That you've got to take personal responsibility to make it happen. That you have got to own what it is that you want to do. If it's taking care of your well-being, if it's making a difference in our school system, if it's working with senior citizens, if it's to protect our ecology, if it's to create an economic renaissance, if it's just to take yourself to another level, it's you. You've got to make that happen. We can point out many things that can make it inconvenient or can slow us down, but ultimately, it's on us. What I'd like for you to do right now, I want you to think about your dream, because I'm in a room full of dreamers. Think about your dream right now. I want you to think about it and envision it. Now, ladies and gentlemen, let me share something with you. I do not believe that any of us have dreams that were not given to us for the purpose of accomplishing those particular dreams. And I want to share something with you that has changed my life. I started out, as was indicated by Jack, very humble beginnings. I don't know what that dream is that you have. I don't care how far-fetched it might appear to be. I don't care how disappointing it might have been as you've been working toward that dream. But here's what I know, that that dream that you're holding in your mind, that it's possible. Let's say that together, please. Say, it's possible. See, sometimes we can't say, I can do that. But what we can say, that it's possible that I can have my dream as we run toward it, as we work on it day in and day out. No one, ladies and gentlemen, could have convinced me when I started out just over 6 years ago working on my dream. And I want you to think about whatever your dream is, because I was willing to take a chance. And most people won't do that. Most of the people that you talk to try and bring them into the business, these are not risk takers. Most people have done all that they're ever going to do. They raise a family, they earn a living, and then they die. But people who are running toward their dreams, life has a special kind of meaning. And here's what I will share with you, that in the process of working on your dreams, you are going to incur a lot of disappointment, a lot of failure, a lot of pain, a lot of setbacks, a lot of defeats. But in the process of doing that, you will discover some things about yourself that you don't know right now. What you will realize is that you have greatness within you. What you'll realize is that you're more powerful than you can ever begin to imagine. What you will realize is that you are greater than your circumstances, that you don't have to go through life being a victim. As Jack indicated, I was born in Mamie, Florida, in an area called Liberty City, in an abandoned building on a hard linoleum floor with my twin brother. We were 6 weeks of age. We were adopted. When I was in 5th grade, I was identified as EMR, labeled educable, mentally retarded, put back from the 5th grade into the 4th grade, and stayed in that category until I got out of high school. I don't have any college training, but I met a high school teacher who one day changed my life. I was waiting on another student, and when he came in, he said to me, young man, go to the board and write what I'm about to tell you. And I said, I can't do that, sir. He said, why not? I said, I'm not one of your students. He said, it doesn't matter, follow my directions now. I said, I can't do that, sir. He said, why not? I said, because I'm educable, mentally retarded. And he came from behind his desk and he looked at me. He said, don't ever say that again. Someone's opinion of you does not have to become your reality. And that man, Mr. Leroy Washington, did something for me. He started planting seeds in my mind that enabled me to begin to dream, as Dexter has been doing for you. And ladies and gentlemen, I started working on my dream. And most people don't work on their dreams. Why? For many years I didn't. One is because of fear. The fear of failure. What if things don't work out? And the fear of success. What if they do and I can't handle it? The other thing is that most people, ladies and gentlemen, they get comfortable. They stop growing, they stop working on themselves, they stop stretching, they stop pushing themselves, and they end up becoming very cynical about life, and they throw in the towel on themselves, and on their families, and on their dreams. And the other thing is that most people don't feel worthy. What I'm doing now, I could have been doing years ago. But because I did not have a college education, because I didn't believe in myself, because I allowed other people's opinion of me to control my destiny, I didn't act on my ideas. So I applaud you for your dreaming, for your running toward your dream. I applaud you for believing in yourself, because that's what life is about, stretching and challenging, looking for ways that you can begin to improve yourself. And ladies and gentlemen, as a result of stretching out, of acting on my dream, and I don't know what that dream is for you, I can tell you that it's possible. No one could have convinced me that after just over 6 years, I will have my own book entitled Live Your Dreams. Just over 6 years, I will have 5 specials on public television. Just over 6 years, I've done motivational speaking for AT&T, Procter & Gamble, McDonald's Corporation, Xerox, IBM. Just over 6 years. I will now have my own talk show that will premiere on Monday, Labor Day. I'm saying to you, your dream is possible. Your dream is possible. But not only is it important that you believe and begin to know that it's possible for you to live your dream as you run toward it, but I've done something that I want to share with you called Choosing Your Future. In fact, I've developed a set of tapes talking about how to begin to create your own reality by choosing your future. And not only is it important for you to know it's possible for you to choose your future, but it's necessary that you work on yourself, that you develop yourself. It's necessary that you get the energy drainers out of your life, people who don't want anything. It's necessary to know that everybody won't see it, that everybody won't join you, that everybody won't have the vision. It's necessary to know that a lot of people like to complain, but they don't want to do anything about their situation, that you are an uncommon breed. You know, you have to know within yourself that I can do this. Even if no one else sees it for me, I must see it for myself. That's necessary. It's also, ladies and gentlemen, necessary that you be creative when you're working on your ideas, that you understand the importance of changing up, of readjusting your strategies. Many times we can have a great idea, but if you're not advancing it in the right way and things don't happen, you become discouraged and think the idea doesn't work. No, that's not true. It's necessary that we become creative. I remember when I was in New York walking down the street, and a guy approached me and said, "Hey, mister, can I shine your shoes?" And I said, "No, I'm in a hurry. I don't have time." I kept walking. Someone else said, "Hey, man, your shoes look clutty. May I shine your shoes?" I said, "No, I don't have time. I'm sorry, I'm busy." And I was walking fast, and many people solicited me for my business. And then finally, a young man stepped in front of me, and he said, "Excuse me." And he started counting, 97, 98, 99, 100. He said, "Sir?" I said, "Yes." He said, "Come here, please." I said, "What is it?" He said, "Today is my birthday. And every year, just to thank God for another year of life, the 100th person who passes my shoe shine stand, I offer them a free shoe shine. Would you give me the honors?" I said, "Why, sure." I got up on the shoe shine stand, George, and I sat there, and he shined my shoes diligently. And when I got down, I looked at them, they were sparkling. And I was walking away, and I said, "Thank you." And I stopped, I said, "Excuse me, but how much do you usually charge?" He said, "Only $2. I said, "I tell you what, today's your birthday. Here's $5, keep the change." He said, "Thank you." As I was walking away, looking in the opposite direction at other people coming, he started counting again. 97, 98, 99, 100. It's necessary that you be flexible, that you are always thinking of how can I improve this better. This is a customer-driven economy. It's necessary for you to always explore various ways in which you can improve the quality of service that you're providing for the people in your organization. I remember something a major company had talked about, the extra value service they were providing for their customers. And the lady who had the news conference summarized it this way. She said, "It's not our intention to satisfy our customers or to please our customers. Our intention is to amaze them." It's necessary, if you're going to compete today, that you look for ways to amaze your customers by being one of those individuals that keep your commitments, that keep your word, that's relentless. It's necessary as you work with the people that you bring into your organization, that they see that you are a good example of a person to work with, because you model integrity and determination and ambition and truth and honesty and the way in which you conduct business. The next step is, that is you. That is you. That no one can do it for you but you. And even though you face disappointments, even though you will experience some setbacks, it goes with the territory. You must understand that. I remember I was playing a game with my 9-year-old son, John Leslie, and I beat him 10 straight games in a game called Connect 4. And finally, I said, John Leslie, I'm bored. I don't want to play you anymore. And I got up. I said, I'm ready to go to sleep now. And repeat out to me, please. Let's say this together. It's not over until I win. John Leslie said, no, you can't go now, Dad. I said, why? He said, it's not over until I win. That was his attitude. We sat down and we played several other games. And finally, after the 11th game, John Leslie won, and he got up and he yawned. And he said, I'm ready to go to sleep now. And I'm saying to you, what if all of us took that attitude after we face a rejection and a no, or we have a meeting and no one shows up, or somebody say, you can count on me, and they don't come through? What if we have that kind of attitude? The car's repossessed. Nobody believes in you. You've lost again and again and again. The lights are cut off, but you're still looking at your dream, reviewing it every day, and say to yourself, it's not over until I win. Life will yield to you. Now here's the next step. Repeat after me, please. It's possible. I can live my dream. It's necessary. I work on myself. Surround myself with winners. Become creative. It's me. I've got to make it happen. It's not over until I win.
So life is full of distractions. And so I want you to think about, what are your goals and what is it that you see for yourself in and out of the pandemic? You just saw video. Here I am, 77, just a few months ago, about 3 months ago, I connected with my birth family. And to see a picture for the first time of my birth mother and father. This thing called life, it's just so unpredictable. And so that in the middle of all the stuff that we have to do, and the things that you have to do in terms of your personal stuff, in terms of your business and the people that's a part of your team, and all of the unexpected distractions that we just don't see coming. This is a very challenging time. And what we have to do and know is, first of all, we have to have a program for ourselves to handle what's going on. And I want you to write this down. When things go wrong, don't go with them, because they're going to go wrong. That's going to happen. And so having a strategy, a game plan, a ritual to train your mind to observe things and not buy into the things that you see, that's major now more than ever. This is no time to lose it. And so when we look at all the conflict and all the things, the confusions and the violence and the spike in suicide and politicians lying out of their necks every day and say, don't believe your lying eyes. You say, come on. This is a different kind of place. And so this is a time that you have to begin to focus on you. This lady, she was working in hospice and she was interviewing patients who just had a few weeks to live, about 2 months to 3 months. And she asked them, what do you regret about your life? And the majority of them said that I wasn't true to myself. That I wish that I had done the things that had been true to me. It's been said that most people die unlived lives. They die a life that's not them. And so I started examining, where am I now and what am I to do with what I'm going through just with one of my children who's bipolar schizophrenic. How do I handle that? I call Fab and say, hey, I need some help. Do you know anybody that can help me? Because here I am, can motivate people around the world, and my son, look like I made him by myself, can't hear my voice. So that's very challenging, and it's very humbling. So part of what I want to share with you, develop a ritual for you. I'm the fix-it person, but I had to begin to anchor myself in the words, Lord, grant me the serenity to accept the things that I can't change, the courage to change the things that I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. And if that wasn't enough, I'm at Cancer Centers of America last week, and they said, Mr. Brown, we know we gave you the Perseverance Award for 29-year prostate cancer conqueror. But we see something here, because I just said, let me just check myself out and see how things are going. And they said, your white blood cells are low. We've not seen this. And I remember reading a book called Who's the Matter with Me? And what I realized, that the shift that has taken place in my health that I'm now proactively dealing with, it is a result of stress, that I was allowing the stress dealing with my son, dealing with the business and all my children, and all of the things that I just have to deal with, no, excuse me, not have to deal with, that I get to deal with. I want you to write this down. Operation Clean Slate. Come on, somebody. Well, I'm coming for you right now. I started saying, wait a minute. A lot of stuff that I had on my plate, it wasn't my stuff. And so I decided Operation Clean Slate. I started getting stuff off my plate, my children, my brothers and my sisters and friends. My mother had a sign, my adopted mother had a sign on her mirror, and it read, oh Lord, help me keep my nose out of other people's business. Now I understand. I want you to write this down. We live our lives forward, but we understand it looking backwards. Now I understand what Mama meant, because I was putting my nose in a lot of business that was not my business. Operation Clean Slate. So you have to sometimes stop, look, and make an assessment and ask the question, what am I to do with this? Where am I going? What's going on with me? Who am I really? Who have I been being? And I have been being Superman or Mighty Mouse. Here I come to save the day. It's Mighty Mouse. He's on his way. I said, no, I resign. I can't even call Superman to help me out. You know why? Because they eliminated the telephone booths. He can't even change clothes. I told him not to remove those telephone booths. He's not gonna risk being arrested for indecent exposure, taking off his clothes in a telephone booth. Now that's not an option. So, so here we are. And we have to deal with this stuff. And so number one, you gotta be true to yourself. You gotta have a ritual to take care of yourself. And you know this. And it's very important. And sometimes we need to be reminded of what we know. I'm getting still, and I'm reading the Bible, the Torah, the Kabbalah, the Holy Quran. I'm reading everything when they said, Mr. Brown, your PSA, which stands for prostate specific antigen 2,400. Wow. And I say, whoa. But guess what? I got it down. To below 0, then it went up to 4. And so I'm working on it again. But what I know is I'm minimizing the stress in my life that I brought into my life. I take responsibility for where I am and this situation. That's an opportunity to prove my discipline and my commitment of making choices, that I would be here and at 77 making the rest of my life the best of my life. And I know that many of you have decided in this mastermind, that's where you are. And because we can't do it by ourselves. And so building mental resolve. I get up early in the morning, listening to things to fortify me, to begin to strengthen myself mentally and emotionally and spiritually. Here's something else. As you begin to dig in and start thinking your life, rethinking it and looking at yourself, why is that important? Because this is a new space that requires a new skill set. Einstein said, the thinking that has brought me this far has created some problems that this thinking can't solve. And so Les Brown had to say to himself, hey, look here, if you do the same thing that got you here, that won't serve you in this new space where we are. So self-awareness is very important. Am I being me? Am I being true to myself? Am I doing the things that I need to do to keep myself on the path to do the things that as I go forward where I am an asset to my family and not a liability? Here's something else. Whatever your goal and dream is, I can share with you based upon my experience, it's possible. And it's necessary. You got to decide, I'm going to do this, I'm going to make this happen. But not just that, but also who you have to be in order to do that. Because at the end of the day, and you know this, being with Fab, that people don't live life as it is. You live life as you are. If you're not playing with a full deck, if you are not getting a full night's sleep, if you don't have the clarity of mind to make good decisions that will serve you and your team and your family, that's going to be challenging. You become a liability. As Jim Rohn said, is your life a warning or is it an example? A warning of not to do or an example of what to do? So taking care of yourself, and I want you to write this down. Live your life, and this is where I am. And I really want you to put this someplace that you can see it. Live your life the way that you want to lead your life. I was talking to a room of entrepreneurs, and I asked them, if you knew you had just a few weeks to live, what would you do differently? And I was surprised that the majority said, I would quit my business, and they start thinking about things that they were going to do. And here's what was fascinating. There's a young lady in there named Pauline Ahi. Pauline was born with no arms and no legs. And so as I was passing her table in this training I was doing, someone said, did you hear what Les said? Write down the things that you would do differently if you knew you just had a few weeks to live. She said, yes, I heard him. And what most of them did at the table, they talked about quitting their business and start traveling and just doing a variety of things. And what she said, I would continue to be me. And when they heard her say that, these people who had written out all the things that they had taken on and all the things that they said that they would step away from, they begin to rethink themselves. And I asked also the second follow-up question, what are the biggest challenges that you're facing right now? Pauline did not have one thing on her paper. No arms, no legs, married with children. And they asked, you gotta have some problem. You don't have no arms. You don't have no legs. That's gotta be very challenging. He said, I don't have no challenge. I find a way to live life on my terms. Whoa. That's major. She said, I've set my life up, my environment, the people in my life, the things that I'm doing. There's nothing that I'm doing that's outside of what I want to do. I'm doing the stuff that's me. I'm being true to me. That's some lesson in that. See, if I knew I had a few weeks to live, I'd do more Zooms and give more motivational speeches. I told my kids that they tell you I'm dead, don't let them embalm me for 3 days. Sneak in there and put a microphone in my head and my hand in the morgue. And if I don't grab it and say, you gotta be hungry, you call your brothers and sisters and say, Dad's gone. Yeah, but, and if my casket give me a microphone and some Colonel Sanders chicken, I'll be fine. This thing called life. So just determining who are you now and who is it you need to be for this vision that you see of yourself, because life is very challenging. It's sometimes up, sometimes down. Sometimes things go well, and sometimes they don't go so well. It's a roller coaster. And so be true to you and decide the things that you envision for yourself, the reason that you're there, the goals that you've set, the relationships that you're building. Make sure that it represents who you are and the things that you envision. You got to have a mindset that I'm going to do this, just like we got started out. Some stuff happened. It's called life. Think it not strange that you're faced the fiery furnaces of this world. You will, not you might. You will have tribulations. Here's something else. Determine what is it that you really want. That's major. What do I really want? And when I started practicing, and I got this from a friend of mine, business partner, Celeste Johnson, Operation Clean Slate, I took a lot of things off my plate, and I'm focusing on doing those things that's in my heart. Where your heart is, there your treasure is also. Spending more time with my children and my grandchildren and my 4 great-grandsons. And so when you look at the things that you want, creating special moments, it's been said, is not the number of breaths that you take, but the number of breaths that takes, the number of moments that you create that takes your breath away. And that's what I'm looking at and focusing on. I remember when I read this article about Howard Hughes, who at that time was the wealthiest man in the world, and they were trying to rush him someplace on an airplane, and he died. And someone asked the question, how much did he leave? And somebody answered, all of it. And so when we look at ourselves, we got to ask, what's really important? Making a decision, and this time that you're there to rethink your life. What's necessary for you that you want to do before you check out? I remember being at Caesar's Palace, and Frank Sinatra was at a table seated next to me, and at that time I was married to Gladys Knight. I was the conductor of the midnight train. Come on now. I was one of the pips. I was the conductor. Come on. And I heard him say to a young man, live each day as if it were your last, because one day it will be. And so, and I want you to write this down. And this is a biggie for me right now. A friend of mine, Samantha, and I said, how you doing? And she sounded so bubbly and so happy. I say, what's going on with you? Why are you so bubbly and happy? And I haven't seen you in a minute. She said, well, the reason I am, and I'm like this every day. And I said, why? She said, this is a non-refundable day. Whoa. I don't have time to be depressed and stressed out. It's non-refundable. I'm gonna make the best of it. I hear you talking about making the rest of your life the best of your life. She said, that's real, because each moment, each day is non-refundable. I reminded myself that every hour, the time that I invest, the conversations that I have. I won't take a phone call unless it's positive, less it's purposeful, less it's productive, less it's going in the direction of where I'm going. I'm not just going to give my time away. I'm 77. No, homie ain't playing that. I'm going to lead my life the way I wanted to do something more meaningful and make a greater impact. I still have some more in me. Simba, you're more than that which you have become. I still believe, and I'm sure some of you believe, that you still have some more in you, that the best is yet to come. Here's something else. Your why, what has driven me and caused me to become the person that I am was I wanted to take care of my adopted mother. You know, my birth mother, she gave me life, but my adopted mother, she taught me how to live life. I feel like Abraham Lincoln, who said, all that I have and all that I ever hope to be, I owe to my mother. And Mama, she was always engaged in life. She was always looking for ways that she could do something differently. It was not unusual for us to come home and Mama, as small as our house was, that she had reconfigured the furniture in the house. And I remember one time coming home and there was a big window in the living room leaning up against the wall. And I said, Mama, why do you have this window here? Well, they tore this house down and you say you're gonna get me a home. Well, I got this window, so you're gonna build me a home. I got a window that could fit. I said, no, man, I'm not gonna buy a home that don't have windows in every room. Come on. And she most certainly accelerated me to getting the home that I promised her that I would get for her. But she had the vision saying, I'm going to participate in this and what you're going to do. I'm going to do my part. And so what reason you're here, you've decided, hey, I got something else I want to do. You've got some bigger goals that you want to achieve. And write this down. Life begins at the end of your comfort zone. I got 3 brothers, 2 that I didn't know. And they look at me and say, whoa, how is it possible? You're just like our birth mother and you didn't know her. And our grandmother, and you didn't know either one, didn't see them. How is it possible? And you're just like them. And the reason is, one, they didn't have any goals beyond their comfort zone and still don't. And they're fine with that. And that's okay. And the other thing is that people say, well, it's in your genes. No. I remember spending a whole day with Maya Angelou, and Maya Angelou said, it aggravates me when people say I'm a natural communicator. She said, show me a natural heart surgeon. She said, no, I'm trained. And so if they put in the effort and the time like you're doing to get training and upgrade my knowledge, my relationships, expand my vision and dreams, I would be living just a non-consequential life. I didn't want that. The reason you're there, that you want to make a greater impact with your business, with the people that you're working with, to bring out the best in them, but also be the model, not just the messenger, but the message that you want to bring out the best in yourself, to challenge yourself. Iron sharpening iron. That's why you're there, creating collaborative, achievement-driven, supportive relationships. That's why you're there. You know there's something in you that says, this is not just it for me. There is more for me. People can be distracted by what's going on in Ukraine, by what's going on with the virus. But as for me, I know that this is my life right now. There is no duplicate, and I want to maximize it. Give yourselves a round of applause for reaching for your greatness. Do that right now.